Right, welcome back. Last time we vassalized Bologna through a war. Did the Avenue split occur last time? Yeah, I think so. Yeah, that was last time. And we also now have free gift and clergy obligations. Well, if I've reduced the amount of court titles. I've also been lately continuously expanding the bureaucracy. And lately I have not been increasing noble influence in the hopes that I can get bureaucrats to, well, at least 15 influence when I give them additional influence, although I am uncertain if that's even possible. Additionally, the port in Pisa is silted up, so that's going to take a while. And I'm almost caught up in tech to ahead of time. I've also picked up quality ideas, and I'm almost done with them. Though I'm only grabbing them as the innovativeness bonus disappears, so. Yeah, no, there really isn't much to say, other than the fact that the 100 Years' War is ongoing. Lithuania had stuff happen to them. They're now a division of Poland. And the Mongols, the various hordes are falling apart, and the Timurids are doing their things. Yeah. The Eastern Roman Empire is almost gone. Castilla's already in Morocco, and yeah. I'm pretty much out of expansion directions for now, so I'm just going to sit and wait. Anyway, let's get on with it. Okay. New decade, in fact, new century. Isn't that something? So, new century, no, new decade, I mean, really. That means it's time for internal stuff. Right. So, absolutely first things first, I want to see what happens if I were to bolster the influence of bureaucracy. Please be a lot. 28. Okay, that's far better than I anticipated. That gives me quite a bit of room for new reforms. Problem, I do also want to get tech. Oh yeah, that might be a problem. Office of Lord Admiral, Naval Morale plus 3%, Naval Morale plus... Naval Force plus 3%, Naval Morale plus 25. Do I really need to keep up military? Not that much, honestly. It will be cheaper in the long run if I wait. And I need the mill points for other stuff. At the very least, I do want to regulate tax farmers. Yeah, admin tech will definitely have to wait until later. Regulate tax farmers. I don't have the very bureaucratic influence to go to state tax farming, but we can work with that. We can work around that eventually. What other reforms are there? Formalize the administration. Yes. It's because of the 50 average autonomy or lower. Cost stability, but worth it. It means that I can actually take a break from expanding the bureaucracy for a while, if I so choose. I think any more reforms would be too costly in loyalty, so I'm just going to stop there. Concession stage liberties. Yeah, I can't back up anymore, so support commerce. Flourish of devotion. I can oppose populist reform. I'm sure it's not going to be an actual problem. Why would that ever be a problem? And lavishly endow the church. It's not like I'm going to get much tax money after that kind of reform. In fact, I'll even do temporary tax relief, because why not? Vision. Keep on resting. There we go. It's not as much as I had hoped for, because I was seriously hoping to get state tax farming through, but I can wait. Although I will continue expanding the bureaucracy. Because it's just too important to leave off. I just want to keep expanding it up until I get to the point where meritocracy starts to rear its ugly head in blocking my ability to move forward. It's going to need plenty of reforms to get to that point, yes. But yeah. The long term, it won't be too much of a problem. Anyway, let's move on. Oh hey, Timur died now. Oh wow. Yeah, stuff happened. Wow. Well, at least Cora Cunningham lives back. Yeah, that's a lot of things happening. Oh, guess it didn't last. It certainly didn't last long. Timur's still around, the Timur country, I mean. But they're tiny. Not surprised me if the tributaries started going. Yeah, the divisions are already extremely willing to revolt. There's Kurdistan. Anyway, moving on. Alright, before anything else happens, I probably should just take cheap paper. Okay, so what does it do? Because this has a, okay, so maximum extraction resources size plus 2.5%, and then just general production efficiency plus 1%, both rural and urban. And I'll take munitions armor too. Siege ability plus 5%, land morale plus 0.06, infantry shock plus 0.15 enables the bombers. Yeah, okay. Just didn't show up here. Because it just shows the selected unit. Okay, okay. Okay. Right. Now the question is it more worth it to prepare for future reforms in the long term or the short term? Because I can direct the bureaucracy to do more. This will increase taxation. It means I get more money to expand further. And just immediately go straight for it, but more likely I think it's best just to farm some loyalty on the aristocrats before trying anything. So I'll start promoting the aristocratic faction again. There's something short term here. I will do one final expansion of the bureaucracy though. Right, and that is it. Let's get on with it. Okay. Right. First off, grab tech. Hand cannons, land morale plus 0.06, combat with plus 1, infantry fire plus 1, enables fire wagons for other people. Lateen rigging. Plus 1, max promoted cultures, and trade range plus 50. Translated classics. Free tenancy, we'll have to wait. Admin efficiency plus 5. Okay, as it is, of course, a new decade. Gotta start looking into, well, improving the loyalty of various factions. After all, it's the prime time to handle things like this, especially considering how reforms like to go. Yeah. So first off, promoting the aristocratic faction. If I continue to do so, this will ensure that the aristocrats at least have high loyalty for the time being. Yield concessions to liberties. I think I'll actually stop increasing the power of the bureaucracy for a while, if only to give it a break. Although I don't know how I want to handle influence. Yeah, I think the bureaucrats could handle a boost. If I if I don't do the aristocrats influence boost next time, I probably have enough influence for at least some things. Still, the burgers aren't happy, so yeah, burger tax relief, fine. Continue imposing prosperous reform, because apparently that's effective. Ignore the Siamese rebels, I can deal with them. Oh, they're usually split between these two areas, and it's grass highlands. As long as I sit on this province, once it gets dangerous, it's not an issue. Anything else I can do for the... No. Heck no. No. Not happening. Oh, okay. There's not actually anything interesting. At least not directly interesting. That's not possible. Yeah, that's not possible. I need to get appointed magistrates in sovereign courts. I need to remove the seigneurial courts' favorite outcomes. And I also need to get to career soldiery, so gentry is going to take a while. It is not currently within reach. At the very least, I have a goal. I know that the next idea group I'll take will be a military idea group of some kind. Probably standing army. Possibly naval? That one's questionable, but yeah, I am sitting in Italy. So, any attempt of going to Gibraltar is not going to work. The Gibraltar Strait, yeah. Pretty much the only colonial ambition I can really do is... Hello, Maghreb. Just... not the greatest potential move. Look, I jumped to 2k troops, which means it's going to take forever for me to actually... Alright, let me at least max out trust. With Lucca. Convert more trust for Bologna. I haven't looked at you in a while. Okay, yeah. There we go. Lots of favors traded. Right, let's get going. More monasticism. It's not really a big deal. This province doesn't see much unrest even under bad conditions, so I'll just do Dominicans this time. It's not really important though, since they only give a tiny buff to stability. Oh well. Greek science rediscovered. Huh. Okay. The Renaissance led many scholars to study Greek in order to read classical texts preserved by the Byzantines. Having spent some time in Constantinople, Filippo Portinari returned to Florence and spent years translating classic Roman texts into Latin, reintroducing ancient Greek and Roman concepts to Florentine science. Okay, it's an advisor. Classic Roman text into Latin. Do you mean modern Latin? The vernacular of Renaissance Italy? Or something else? One of the most influential of these texts was Ptolemy's Geographia. a 2nd century atlas and treatise on cartography. The world map in it was a revelation to Europeans and inspired later explorers to seek ways to travel across the Atlantic to Asia. However, it was also widely criticized for being inaccurate. I think I'd rather take the guaranteed 75 Diplo points. Thank you very much. The First Estate. Throughout the Middle Ages, social mobility was extremely limited, even in enlightened states. Relatively enlightened states. Gotta remember that relative. That's very, very important. Anyway, one of the few avenues to wealth and power available to everyone was the clergy. While the highest ranks of the church tended to be dominated by the nobility, well, obviously, occasionally the son of a farmer or goatherd rose to the rank of abbot, bishop, or even cardinal. When this happened, it was cause for celebration in his hometown, walking proof that it was possible for the lowliest peasant to walk among kings. Not the peasants have their hero. I don't need to spend papal influence for extra stability. Plus, it should reduce the power of the Sieni separatists. Cosimo de' Medici. Giovanni de' Medici has become one of the richest men in Florence. His family has contacts with the most important persons of our republic, but Giovanni never showed much interest in politics. Probably a good thing. Rich people in politics. Yeah. I have to say, am I glad I don't live in times where people have rich people have a huge amount of influence in politics thanks to campaign donations or control over media and whatnot. Really, I'm glad that's not the case. Anyway, moving on to the actually important stuff in-game. His son Cosimo has inherited both his wealth and his expertise in banking, but also shows political ambitions. It's not clear what his real intentions are, but he served the Republic quite well in the last years. That's interesting. I at least get some points in admin and diplo, but I feel that's just a prelude for things to come. Okay, free tenancy. That's good. This one grants me a new idea group. Now the question is, what exactly? Of course it is. And that's a question that I always struggle to answer. Because idea groups are extremely important. After all, it does affect the course of the rest of the game. However, due to the nature of the game, I absolutely need to move towards a proper military system. That involves 2 military idea groups, so I'm definitely grabbing a military idea group. Sure, I lack points to some degree, but I can work around it. And let's just go with the usual. The tried and true, the tested. The stuff that I use all the time, standing army ideas. Right, I can at least grab a couple before it starts becoming questionable whether or not I can actually afford full plate armor once the ahead of time penalty disappears. After all, I need to ensure that I remain fairly good when it comes to tech, because, well, Italy is fairly consistently good in tech development, so I need to ensure that I can keep up with my neighbors. Alright, let me just grab ideas. I get these all the time, so movement speed plus 15%, manpower recovery speed plus 20%, and this is going to be the last one. Okay. Stability increase interval minus 2.5%, rifle suppression efficiency plus 33%. Probably going to end up getting these, but it's going to take time. And I'm going to need to increase the bureaucracy before I can actually get either of these reforms. Well, hybrid military actually is perfectly fine and achievable. I just need 30 bureaucratic influence and to actually finish the idea group. And then also invest 200 mil points. Enlistment is a little bit more pricey. 30 bureaucratic influence, 35 state reach. Okay, that's the same amount of influence, but still 35 state reach is a good bit more. Plus I have to have hybrid military complete, though I can do both at the same time. After all, that is a possibility. I think under most circumstances you can do 2 reforms. Major reforms at once. Anyway, let's go. Invitation to the councils within 1440. What's going on this time with the church? I wonder. We have been invited to a council to resolve the Western Schism. Ah. Okay. The dark age of our church is threatening to destroy everything that has been built since our Lord and Savior came to earth to wash all of our sins. Already, Hussite fanatics are taking advantage of the situation to spread in the heart of the Roman Empire. The real Roman Empire, of course, because the fake one over to the east has been destroyed. Unless, nope. Yeah, the Eastern Roman Empire has fallen. Though oddly, the number of Hussites is actually fairly low, even in Bohemia. The number is steadily increasing. Interesting. Right, this must end. Accept the invite. Let's see what happens. Hopefully it happens soon, the event anyway. Well, perhaps not. We shall see. Nope. Okay, it's not happening this year. I'll see you guys next year. Well, while we wait, let's just go ahead and... Wait, let's... okay. And there we go. Ah, right. Yes, I'm actually trying out a new system of recording when interesting things happen in order to make editing easier, so it's actually working fairly well, outside of some points where I'm wondering what time it is. Should I continue promoting the aristocratic faction? Yeah, I can wait a little bit longer, another decade for more reforms, in order to get noble loyalty up. I didn't perform a show of devotion last time, and that's probably for good reason. And also, the church seems happy enough for me. Alright, go back to expanding the bureaucracy again. It's a good idea. Is there anything else? Well, tech is fine. Idea group is fine. Okay. Let's hope the actual event happens soon. Because we have to resolve the schism at some point, right? The Great Western Schism. Alright. Hello? There we go. The topic currently debated is which pope should be picked to end the current divide that tears Catholicism. Choose the Roman Pope. Well, I guess the third candidate was picked. Alright then. There, the schism is over. Yeah, everything's back to normal again. Glad to say that's over with. Anyway. Trial of Jan Hus. Okay. Jan Hus has been invited to the council to debate his view on the Catholic Church with MEIOU de Costas in the presence of the general congregation. After a few weeks, his opponents succeeded in imprisoning him on the strength of a rumor that he intended to flee. He was first brought into the residence of a canon and then into the prison of the Dominican monastery. The emperor, as the guarantor of Hus's safety, was greatly angered and threatened the prelates with dismissal. The prelates convinced him that he could not be bound by promises to a heretic. See, this is why during the Middle Ages, or at least the early Middle Ages, Christians generally had a bad reputation. They tended to break promises with heretics, heathens, so on and so forth, and the bounds of a promise were extremely important during those times. Nowadays, you can break a promise if it gets you ahead, and people will applaud you for it. As long as you aren't making promises to certain people. Anyway, extracts from his works were read and witnesses were heard. He refused all formulae of submission, but declared himself willing to recant if his errors should be proven to him from the Bible. Hus conceded his veneration of Wycliffe, and said that he could only wish his soul might sometime attain unto that place where Wycliffe's was. The question is, what should we do? Burn the heretic, excommunicate him, reform the church. Reform the church. Why not? Let's see what happens. No. That's not what I'm waiting for. I'm waiting to see the results of the vote. Martyrdom and heresy. Oh. I was the only one to... Okay, Frankfurt also voted, and Venice wanted to excommunicate. No one abstained. I don't think that's a correct flavor text for the event option. This will create a personal union between Hungary and Poland. Casimir dies on the following conditions. Yep. Alright. We must prepare for the coming storm. The Hussite wars will be upon us. There is no chance of otherwise being the case. Oh, what's this? Pagan poetry and Christian ethics. Huh. The Renaissance was a period when the Greek and Roman classics were rediscovered and translated into Latin. Aren't the Roman classics already in Latin? Well, maybe translated from Greek. Fine, I guess, but it still feels a little weird to hear it put that way. Simply put. Anyway. In the Middle Ages, they had been shunned for being pagan, but now humanist scholars evaluated them on their ideas rather than on their heresy. Ancient writers such as Plato, Socrates, and Aristotle had much to say on topics such as ethics and politics, and those ideas were just as relevant in 1418 as they had been 2,000 years earlier. The result was a flowering of philosophy, poetry, and science as the ancient classics inspired modern interpretations. However, it was also a time of increased skepticism about religion. If a pagan who died long before Christ was born could use logic to determine good and evil, what did that say about the Bible? Too many Florentine philosophers The answer was simple. Being a good Christian meant following a code of ethics, not following the Bible. One could live an ethical life by being honest, hardworking, generous, and kind, without ever touching a relic, going on a pilgrimage, or purchasing an indulgence. But then, where did this leave the church? I don't like any of this. Okay, the classics are deeply flawed, but still worth reading. Let's take the middle route because the others are just kind of bad and painful. Okay. Started claim fabrication on Mazda because they only have Ferrari as an ally. And that continues to be the case. Excellent. Excellent. That's perfect. That actually does mean I can do quite a bit with this claim. Start a war. And possibly, conquer some of Ferrara's provinces too. I find that one unlikely, at least not more than maybe Modena. Because, yeah. And vassals are, of course, a thing. I mean, I could annex them. I think I'm going to save that for later. I want to centralize a bit more. Go to federalism, maybe, in order to reduce diplomatic annexation cost. And for now, Bologna sitting where it is fine. On the other hand, I could just do it directly. And have Ferrara as a subject instead. That would be extremely convenient, won't it? So careful, they are improving relations with Hungary, so if Hungary decides to ally them for some reason, yeah, that's it. So it's an opportunity that won't last forever for obvious reasons. The other option is to just, like I said, try to vassalize Ferrara, but that's going to be pricey. Italy, HRE, you know, the sheer amount of growth of expansion that tends to occur with this stuff. Well, we'll just have to see. I'll take a few months to build up morale, and then let this. Okay. Let's go. Oh. Uh-huh. I could bring in the Papal States. Or Lucca. Uh-oh. That's not a good sign. Thankfully, superior combat ability has come to save the day. Sadly, Bologna no longer has troops. But that can be worked around. So now, I just sit and wait. Yeah, no, terrible idea. Okay. Stop allying yourself with Naples. Hopefully you won't find a different good ally to work with, but I am very much not convinced that this would be the case. Okay, this should get me a decent amount of prestige off of Ferrara. And a short enough truce to be potentially useful. Now, just wait another day, and then I can handle the peace deal for Massa. Yep, this this, and there's nothing else I can ask of them, so there we go. Peace deal is signed. Right. Okay, let's see the consequences of the war. And I think I'll actually start annexing Bologna directly. Probably will be, and actually they're not a member of the HU race, there won't be any issues there. No. Moving on. Uh-oh. Things are starting to get extra, isn't it? Well, the influence of Cosimo de' Medici. Political questions are settled in Cosimo's house. The man he chooses holds office. He is who it is who decides peace and war. He is king in all but name. The power of the Republic faded in the last years, when Cosimo de' Medici decided to spend his vast fortune to control Florentine politics. He has established an invisible net of friends, allies, and de facto vassals. Some members of the council have claimed that he would be a menace for the whole Republic if nothing was done to the House of Medici. However, it is clear that Cosimo's abilities are far superior to those of his opponents. On the other side, if we don't act, this may cause an uproar in the council that will strengthen Cosimo's position even more. Get rid of him. The stability of the Republic is more important than one rich man's ambitions. Alright, that's a good point to stop. So, let me just write down. Right. Okay, there's gotta be a couple things that I have to do, right? Well, not really. I don't plan on changing around influences in the hopes that I can get bureaucrat influence to a reasonable amount for further reforms soonish. Of course, that relies on there being no random events that get in the way over the next 5 years, which is entirely possible. Anyway, so what have we done? Well, I've annexed Bologna and Massa. One diplomatically, the other not so much. That unlawful territory is going to stick around for a while. I've also forced Ferrara to break their alliance with Naples, so long as nothing happens, they're isolated and I can take them down. Though it may be costly to vassalize them, if I so choose, because, well, simply put, it's dangerous to try to annex them fully. Massa already generates quite a bit of aggressive expansion out of that. Although it is fading away and should be gone by the time I actually declare war on, well, anyone, but probably Ferrara. After that, well, I've got plenty more options. Verona, Padua, Milan. Now I've got Genoa as a potential option, but it would require stuff happening, considering they're allied to Castile and Naples, and the Iberian Union happened. Yeah. I'm getting the ahead of time bonus for all techs, which is great. And I've just finished standing army ideas and quality ideas. So I do have the number of military idea groups to go ahead and go through with upgrading to enlistment, which is why I do actually plan on expanding the bureaucracy. With this, I should be able to bring it up to 35%, and, well, That should be enough for me to get hybrid military, in theory. In practice, well, it depends on whether I can actually get 30 bureaucratic influence. If I can pass those reforms, although it would also require getting enough mill points for that, and probably also tech. Considering it unlocks new infantry and cavalry, it's probably a good idea to grab tech sooner. Oh boy, is it probably a good idea. That number's inaccurate. There we go. Nobles are losing wealth. Huh. They're certainly not my taxes. Strange. Anyway, yeah. So I'm slowly waking my way northwards. The Avignon split is gone. The Hussites are, of course, doing their thing. Because, of course, everyone agrees that apparently Jan Hus should be burned at the stake. This has predictable consequences on the popularity of Hussites. But, well, I've got 3 cardinals now, which is nice. Sadly, Lucca's now a free city, so until the HRE leaves Italy, yeah. Well, this is the only core province of Latium. Anyway, that's not important. There's really not much else to say. Burgundy is going for their independence with the support of England and Naples, and it looks like they're actually succeeding. So we might actually get a genuinely independent Burgundy. Demurr's collapsed. And now, the Iranian region is a mess again. Ordo-Lus seems to be fairly dominant in Central Asia. There's only so much I can see. Paluzaru seems to have conquered most of Novgorod, as has Sweden. Kirim is making their way towards Moscow, which is just lovely. And Lithuania is a permanent junior partner of Poland. Oh, and the Eastern Roman Empire is gone. So there's only one Roman Empire remaining, everyone. Some people are not going to like that I said that. But hey, I'm playing as a Catholic country, and to them there's only one true Roman Empire. And I'm a part of it. The southernmost part of it. Because it doesn't even include the actual Rome. But yes. I am also approaching the point where I can actually fix the port in Pisa. I just need to ensure that I remain, well, I keep having a reasonable amount of ducats. The ruler has a reasonable amount of admin skill, and finally, I reached admin tech 25. At that point, I can go ahead and click the button, do the thing, give me back a proper port. Although it isn't important yet, it will be in the future. In order to ensure that communication along this side of Italy is good. Because honestly, what are the chances that I move the capital to Rome when I form Italy? Okay, that's probably fairly high, but anyway, I think I have gone on long enough, so I'll stop it here. I'll see you again next time. Until then.